Hello, very good morning, children. Today we are going to discuss about a new topic in economics, that is sectors of Indian economy. What is that? Sectors of Indian economy. In the, I think we can begin with what you have studied in last chapter, that is the concept development. And we have discussed that the concept development means it is too difficult to achieve, both for the individual and also for the country. Because development, to achieve this development concept takes too much of time. And it is through economic growth only we will be able to achieve. And economic growth will be possible only through economic progress. So to achieve economic growth, we should have what? Money, income, wealth we need to satisfy the needs of human beings as well as the needs of the country. We need money. But what we have studied is, apart from money, we need something else to achieve economic development. Isn't it? That is, we need something else. What something else means? We are expecting many things from the society like love, care, respect, freedom, etc. And apart from this, we need to adopt changes in our life according to the need of the economy. We should be ready to change our attitude according to, or we need to adopt changes, which means modernization. What we call it as modernization to achieve economic development. So now moving towards the next concept, the other concept, that is sectors of Indian economy. We know that to achieve economic development or to achieve economic growth, we need what? Money. From where we will get money? To get money, we need to engage in different economic activities. So we know that all the people are engaged in different activities. Isn't it? We are engaged in different economic activities. So how can we divide? What are the different types of sectors that we are familiar with? It's a very simple topic, very easy to study. And already you have studied, or you know that we have different sectors in the economy. So what are the different sectors that we have, or where people are engaged in? Actually, in three different ways we can divide the sectors. That is, one is on the basis of economic activities. On the basis of economic activities, we can divide the sectors into primary, secondary and tertiary. Yes, this is one type of classification. What we are discussing about? Sectors of Indian economy. Sectors of Indian economy. What are the different sectors that people are, or where people are engaged in? So on the basis of economic activities, in which economic activity the people are engaged in? Some are engaged in primary, some are engaged in secondary, some are engaged in tertiary. Right? The second type is on the basis of ownership. What is that? On the basis of ownership. On the basis of ownership, we can divide it into private sector and public sector. And the third classification is on the basis of employment. On the basis of employment, it can be classified into organized and unorganized. So children, we are going to discuss about in which economic activity or in which sector the people are engaged in, what they are doing. Actually, what is this sector? What are these sectors? So in different manners we can classify the sectors of Indian economy. In different ways we can. Either on the basis of economic activities we can divide, or we can divide it on the basis of ownership, or we can divide it on the basis of mode of employment. moving towards the first type, which you have already studied in lower class, that is economic activity. So, on the basis of economic activity, in which economic activity each and every person of India are engaged in. Some are engaged in primary activities, secondary and in tertiary. Yes, so going into the detail of what is primary sector. What are these primary sector? See, actually children, primary, which provides a base. So primary sector means those sectors where the people are directly interacting, directly engaged with the nature. Because we are getting, in whichever sectors we are working, we need what? Commodities, we need raw materials. It is only with the help of raw materials we will be able to produce a particular commodity. So from where we will get all these raw materials? All these raw materials are being taken from the nature. Are we bringing anything during the time of our birth? No. So whatever we are having now, whatever things that we are doing, or we are utilizing, whatever things that we have in our hand, all these things are being manufactured with the help of the things taken from the nature. Understood? So, primary sector. So, all the raw materials are being taken from the nature. So, which and all activities are there where people are directly interacting with the nature? We call them as what? All such sectors are called as what? Primary sector. We can see the example: fishing, agriculture. Fish is a natural resource. Water is a natural resource where the people are directly interacting with the nature. Forestry, agriculture. Yes, all these are what? All these are examples. All the type of agricultural activities comes under what? Primary sector. Then comes secondary sector. Secondary after the first process. See, the raw materials are being taken from a particular area, that is nature, and the people who are engaged in these activities are called as, or such sectors are called as primary sector, and the taken raw materials from the nature. Yes, the taken raw materials from the nature are being taken to or are being transported to a particular area from where the modification process is taking place. From where the modification process is taking place, from where the manufacturing process is taking place. So secondary sector can be called as what? Manufacturing sector. From where the raw materials are being converted into a particular product. We can see all the industrial sector comes under what? Because it is from the industrial sector, or it is from the production units that we are converting a raw material into what? Into what? A finished product. Into a finished product with the help of different implements, tools, machineries, technologies, etc. Understood? So, such sectors are called as secondary sector. And the third one is tertiary sector. What are tertiary sector? Tertiary sector. Tertiary sector means what? From where? See, tertiary sector will be fulfilled only with the help of what? Primary and secondary. From where we are, actually tertiary sector means from where that it is being fulfilled. See, for example, let me see. We have taken raw materials from the nature that comes under primary sector. Then it is being taken to the industry for the modification process. Yes, that belongs to the secondary sector. And to sell this particular product which is manufactured from the secondary sector need to be transported to the marketplace, right? Yes, it has to be taken to the marketplace. For that we need to depend upon different means of transport. So, transport comes under what? Transport comes under services. So these people are transporting the commodities from the area where these manufacturing process have been taken place, and that is, it is that produced commodity is being taken to the market for selling. So in between the process, once the production process is completed and for selling, what and all activities will be there? They need to transform, they need to communicate with many people. Yes, for that they need to depend upon many means of transport as well as means of communication. Right? So all these transport, communication, banking, all the finance items, everything will come under what? Everything will come under tertiary sector. And nowadays you know that after the development of IT sector by 2000, we know that all the call centers, everything comes under what? Insurance, all these things comes under what? Tertiary sector. All the IT sectors comes under tertiary sector. They are providing what? Services to many. Yes. So to sell a particular product taken from the nature, yes, what is needed? Tertiary sector. Tertiary, that services is needed. Yes. So we can see that all these primary, secondary and tertiary sectors are interrelated. Because secondary sector will get raw materials only from the primary sector. Right? Primary product, directly we can't take that particular product taken from the nature to satisfy the needs. Suppose I need a table. Can we say that the nature is providing? Can we say that the nature is providing table directly? No. The nature is providing us in the form of a tree, and that tree is being cut down into pieces and it is being taken to the industry from where the modification process is taking place, and it is being converted into what? Table, and it is being taken to the market for selling. Yes, so what we can see is that particular product is being going through all the three sectors. Yes, so all these three sectors are interrelated. Primary sector will be fulfilled, or that particular product will be produced properly only with the help of secondary sector. We need to adopt the technologies there. Understood? And not only that, to reach in the hands of the public, we need what? Tertiary sector. We need to depend upon the tertiary sector. Yes, tertiary sector will get the product only from where? Primary as well as secondary sector. Secondary sector will get the product from primary sector, and secondary sector will also be fulfilled only through tertiary sector. So altogether we can say that all these three sectors are interrelated or interdependent. Likewise, that is what we are saying, that the sum total of the money value from all these primary, secondary and tertiary sectors are called as what? GDP, which we have already discussed, or what we call it as national income. Yes, the sum total of the money. We see people of a country either will be engaged in primary sector, or will be engaged in secondary sector, or will be engaged in tertiary sector, right? So the money value from the primary sector, money value from the secondary sector, money value from the tertiary sector, sum total of all these things comprises of gross domestic product. That is the product which is produced within the particular territory, and its money value is what we call it as national income. And when we take the case of the contribution from all these three sectors towards GDP, earlier time when we got independence, or just after we got independence, very well it was very clear that we can say that what more than 80% or 85% of the people were dependent upon agricultural sector. But even though the agricultural sector during that time remained stagnant, especially because of the existence of zamindari system. Yes, you might have studied in history, and primary sector, secondary and tertiary sector was not that much developed during that time. Understood? So compared to the secondary and tertiary sector during that time, we can say that the contribution was little bit better in primary sector. But now, it's not like that. Now what is the contribution? Compared to the primary sector, the contribution from secondary and tertiary sector is going on increasing. because of the development in science and technologies, because of the education that people are getting. Yes, when people get more and more education, automatically they will or they need to work in either in secondary sector or in tertiary sector. They are focusing towards these two. Actually, in the long run, it should not happen. Understood? See, now we can say that the contribution is from the tertiary sector is going on increasing because of the development in IT sector. Yes, but if this situation continues, see children, you think of it, what will happen? From where the secondary and tertiary sector will get their raw materials? People should be there to work in primary sector, because secondary and tertiary sector, the base is where they depended mainly upon what? Primary sector, isn't it? So people should be there to produce product. Understood? If the agricultural sector or the primary sector provides raw materials, only secondary and tertiary sector will work. Understood? So we need to take measures. Then moving towards the next type, I think that this is very clear for you. Then moving towards the ownership, which we are very familiar with. Ownership. Who is the owner? Who is the owner? Who is controlling that particular sector? Who is controlling that particular sector? Yes, private sector, public sector. Private sector, public sector. On the basis of ownership, we can divide sectors into private or public. Some are working under private sector, some are working in public sector. Right? Private sector. Those sectors which are owned and operated by the private individuals. Any persons who have money, who like to invest, can start a business, can start an institution, can start whatever the type of business, factories, everything they can start. So the people who are working, or if a particular person or group of people are controlling that, that will come under what? Private sector. At the same time, public sector. Public sector means what? The sector which are owned and operated by the government. The sector which are owned and operated by the government. All the things are all the rules and regulations are being controlled or are being put forward by the government. Right? That whole sector is being controlled by the government. So when we take the case of the private sector, okay, you can say the example of Tata, Birla, Reliance, or whatever it may be. Right? At the same time, public, you can say the example, public sector, BSNL, railway, isn't it? All these things you can say the example. Public sector, which are being controlled by the government. Right? Minimum 1 or 2 you need to study. Then moving towards the third important sector, that is employment. On the basis of employment. So from that word itself, it is very clear that some terms and conditions are different here. On the basis of employment, we can divide sectors into organized and unorganized. Organized means what? Where they are providing what? Job security. Where they are providing what? Job security. Or there is an assurance. Job assurance is there. Job assurance, job security. Job security means what? See, you might have heard that there are certain sectors which are providing all the type of benefits to the workers. All the type of benefits. Which means what? A fixed salary. Fixed salary. Every month by 1 or 2 or before 10th, they will be getting what? Particular amount as salary. Right? Apart from this, institutions which are providing provident fund. Yes, casual leave, medical leave, provident fund, pension, yes, ESI. So through providing or by providing all these things, it means that that particular staff or that worker is what? Enjoying all the type of what? Job security. Yes, he is enjoying. It means that the institution is providing an assurance for that particular worker. Understood? It doesn't mean that only government sector is providing what. It doesn't mean that, keep it in mind, automatically children will be having a misunderstanding that only government sector is providing all these things. It's not like that. Reputed institutions, and most of the institutions or the reputed institutions are providing all these benefits to even the private institutions are providing all these benefits. Not all private institutions, but certain private institutions also are providing these types of benefits, and thus ensuring the security of their workers. At the same time, just opposite is unorganized sector. Just opposite is unorganized sector, which means what? These people, the workers, are not at all getting any sort of what benefits. When they are going, if they are going for work, okay, they will be getting the salary or the wages. If they are not going, they won't get. At any time, they will be terminated from that particular job. At any time, they will be terminated from that particular job. Understood, children? And that is unorganized sector. We can see the examples of daily workers, then daily wage workers, then you can write casual contract workers, then we can say the example of agricultural laborers, potter making, potters, etc. Likewise. Understood? So they are not having any job security. Right? Hope you understood. And when we take the case of, because we are both in economics as well as in geography, or we are aiming towards how to take India to the level of economic development. So when we assess our country by looking at this organized and unorganized, very well we can say that our country, the people of our country, majority, or the latest survey shows that majority of the Indians are working in unorganized sector. Yes, so what we can conclude from that? Many are working in. If many are working in unorganized sector, means what? At any time they can be terminated. They are job seekers. If they get some better job, definitely they will leave that existing job. Which means that what? They are facing the problem of unemployment. They are facing. See, majority of the Indians are working in unorganized sector, means that what? They are what? At any time they will be get terminated. So they are seeking a job, which means they are facing the problem of unemployment. So as we have the government to control everything, to look after the welfare of the people, it is the responsibility of the government to ensure the job security of the people who are working in unorganized sector also. So what government can take? What government can take? Isn't it? At least government can. That is what. And you know that very well. You know that the government every time is going on, or nowadays the government have said that even in the unorganized sector, the workers should get a minimum wage. Minimum wage. And those people who are getting less than a minimum salary, they need to provide ESI benefits. You might have heard of all these things. This is the way how our government is trying to protect the workers who are working in unorganized sector. Is it clear, children? So, though we can divide all these sectors of Indian economy into different ways, in different ways we can explain. Either in terms of economic activities, or in terms of ownership, or in terms of employment. Right? So, altogether we can say that even though national income is going on increasing, but still people are facing problem. So what we can see here is primary sector, very less people are working now, but still not very less people. Even in the 21st century, more than 50% of the people are working. But the problem is, as these workers working in primary sector are facing lots of problems, contribution is not increasing. Contribution towards GDP is not increasing. That is one of the most important problem, the why agricultural productivity, because of the lack of technology, outmoded technologies, or our agricultural farmers are mainly dependent upon natural rainfall, subsistence, importance given to subsistence farming instead of commercial. So all these are the problems existing in agricultural sector, and because of these reasons, the contribution towards GDP is going on decreasing compared to the secondary and tertiary sector. Then ownership, majority are working in private sector where they are experiencing what lack of job security, like what we have studied here or discussed here in the organized and unorganized sector. So we can conclude by saying that the Indians are facing lots of problems. Majority are working in unorganized sector. It's a very serious issue. We need to, as future generation, we need to, or we need to think about properly what measure we as new generation people or the future generation, as future India is in our hands. So what measure we can take to protect these unorganized, that is the people who are working in unorganized sector. Hope it's very clear for you all. Thank you.